Amplitude's Endless Legend 2 is already shaping up to stand out in the world of 4X strategy, much like the first game in the franchise, and it looks like the developers have taken in a lot of feedback from humankind as well, incorporating several positive aspects into this second game. Hello everybody, this is Havoc, and today I'm bringing you 8 big differences between Endless Legend and Endless Legend 2 in an effort to help you understand how the Endless Legend franchise is evolving in the best of ways. Before we begin, a quick aside, I am associated with Hooded Horse, Endless Legend 2's publisher. You can find out more about what that means by checking the video in the description, but I am in no way being incentivized to create this video outside of a great deep passion for the game. And if you're already digging this video or it hits you while you watch, help it go out as a sacrifice before the YouTube gods by liking, subbing, and commenting down below so it goes out into the YouTube algorithm. With that out of the way, let's first take a look at the most crucial piece of any strategy game with a comprehensive user interface, an essential experience. You may not know it, but the user interface will make or break your experience in a strategy game. If resources are hard to decipher, or if you can't figure out what's going on in your cities, battles and diplomacy are just lacking in information, it can and will ruin your desire to continue playing. Endless Legend's UI wasn't terrible by any definition. You could parse information well enough if in a very spreadsheet-like manner, and its overall functionality was definitely there. Endless Legend 2's UI, however, is simply top-notch. With your top-level Empire screen, you can easily assess an Empire's generation of dust and influence, two of the most crucial pieces for expansion within the game. You can readily check out the strategic and luxury resource generation. One click of the Empire Summary tab, and you have a wealth of easily decipherable information on the health of the people under your empire, your faction effects, and your council. Within your cities themselves, you have the ability to see how the city is doing, what populations are being created next, what buildings are in the queue, and a right-in-your-face overview of the FIDSI, or Food Industry Dust Science and Industry, production that is being generated. I will say not all is perfect in here, as it can be a little bit difficult to see what next steps need to happen once you're done in the building queue, but I know that's definitely something they're addressing based on feedback. And if that weren't enough, lockable and nested tooltips. Any grand strategy player can speak on the necessity of both functions and having the ability not just to lock a tooltip to read over its contents, but then to hover over an unfamiliar term and then be able to read that tooltip. It is fantastic. So a fantastic user interface is already bringing things to a new level, but we also have a series of humankind rollovers that I think you'll enjoy, starting with no more settlers. This isn't Civ. Anyone who has played Humankind should pick up on this immediately, but for you Civilization players, cities are not immediately created in the game, outside of your first one that is. Rather, they start as a camp, which can then be upgraded into a city, or that camp can be attached to an already established one. Any army or unit within Endless Legend 2 has the ability to claim a region on the map with that camp, although some factions like the Aspect start out as a coral spore, which can then evolve into a camp, then into a city. While this can seem like a bit of an overpowered mechanic, the cost to establish a camp drastically increases the more you have, so it offsets overexpansion pretty darn quick. That being said, overexpansion is also severely curbed by limited territories, limited cities, the Snowball Eater. In Humankind, it was easy to snowball into a massive empire by gobbling up territories like their candy and creating cities left, right, front, and center. Not so in Endless Legend 2. For instance, you can only attach one territory to a city, and that's a hard limit where it's literally impossible to attach another until you research an Era 2 tech, which then requires you to upgrade your city hall for one additional territory. Cities themselves are soft limited to 2, where you'll receive penalties for going over, but like in Humankind, the first extra city really isn't that bad of a burn if you know how to take advantage of it. Regardless, this limiter means that you'll end up with way more camps than you know what to do with, so why build them? Well, certain notables can buff your camps with influence bonuses if they're on the council. You can use the claimed territory to build mines and exploit resources, or in the case of the Aspects, use the coral spores to expand and pacify minor factions. Unless a specific notable or research effect is in place that creates a negative reason against camps, it's well worth the investment to camp it up. Speaking of cities and camps, there is also a more streamlined method towards foundations and districts, an influential matter. While foundations are not new per se to the Endless Legends series, they are definitely revamped here. In order to build any district in your city, you must first have a foundation. While your newly established city comes with 6 of them in the ideal placement, you will 100% need to move beyond that. The good part is that to build a foundation, it just needs to be connected to another foundation already there, and it's built instantly. The bad part, it costs influence. This means you'll have to balance your camp expansion with your city's expansion, as each additional foundation also increases in influence cost. Thankfully, as the aspect, if a tile has a coral trait on it, that cost is reduced by 50%, but even then, the cost can get a wee bit crazy, and you'll definitely want to optimize your influence production when you play. Districts operate near exactly like in Humankind. Each tile on the map has its base FIDZ resource production, which you can build upon to take advantage of, but there are other tiles to consider. Industry production gets a boost next to a ridge tile, science production gets a boost next to anomalies, etc., etc. This also makes certain territories more sought after as the player. Seeing a tile that is touching 3 anomalies is a science player's dream and would no doubt be a hard focus in order to exploit a seriously sensational science city. All of these are Empire-focused implementations, but what about warfare? How about Armies and Battles, the stick shift experience? A little bit of vehicle humor thrown in there for good measure, but one of the best features from Humankind stems from Armies and Battles. First off, armies have a power projection number based on the stats of the units inside of it. You can see any army's power projection, whether in fortresses on the map, a militia during sieges, or attacking minor faction bases. This will give you a base level idea on whether you want to commit to battle or decide to live another day. And praise the Endless, gone are the days of the first Endless and Endless Space where you can set up your armies, but then combat is automatic. Endless Legend 2 features Humankind's manual battles, where you can set up your units pre-battle and then command them click by click, attacking, defending, taking the high ground, and in the case of heroes, utilizing their special abilities. Battles are extremely rewarding in Endless Legend 2, and it's great to see them implementing the feature from Humankind into their next big hit. Now, we're out of the Humankind territory, but not out of warfare, as we have to talk about heroes, what Endless Legend deserves and needs. Heroes are a key aspect to Endless Legend 2, and they've seen a major rework since the first game, although they mostly operate the same. For instance, you still need a hero and an army to parley with minor factions or engage in certain faction missions. They still have a series of equipment slots that you can modify their stats with, and they still have a skill tree, but the skill tree is where the rework starts to take over. While adhering to the split in class, hybrid class faction, and faction only trees, there are now additional skills that can further enhance certain battle or passive skills. For instance, taking a look at Polymyphon the Steadfast here, our level 3 hero for the aspects. We can see on the right hand side that he has points in resilience, intuition, and determination. Hovering over the deflecting stance passive skill, all units in his army get 3 defense automatically, but 1 extra armor per resilience. Now, 5 defense may not seem like much, but it can turn a very weak archer into something even a smidge more robust, which could save them in a battle. Or take a look at Second Wind. Even with just 1 determination point, you increase the odds of a critical chance by 18%. Now imagine pumping 5 points in and bumping that up to 30%. There are some powerful combinations that you can push with heroes, and it's fantastic. One of the more interesting parts about heroes is that you aren't limited to your own faction. Rather, any assimilated minor factions has the potential to join, as we'll discuss further in the video. They will provide a great deal of replayability for the game, considering you may not run across the same minor factions in any 2 playthroughs. Heroes also have 2 slots for a companion and a friend. Companions are life partners that can provide additional buffs in various ways, whether boosting those aforementioned skills or otherwise. It's well worth investing in a companion soon after starting, as they get their own house with a range of fidsy resources to boost your city even a little. Friends are the heroes we met along the way, and with the ability to put multiple heroes inside of a single army, if 2 heroes are friends, they also receive additional bonuses that makes battles even more enjoyable. Heroes overall feel much more impactful on the campaign map, and it's great to see this solid step towards their evolution in the game. The last solid bit about heroes is their ability to take up the mantle and potentially become council members. Governors no more. Now, there may be several of you out there disappointed to learn that city governors are not being brought over from the first Endless Legend, and that's totally understandable. What has replaced that system is your council, though, accessible after your first monsoon season hits in the game. Your council is comprised of notables or characters from both your faction and any assimilated minor faction within the game. Every notable has various effects that they can bring to the council if elected, with a wide range of both economic and military benefits depending on the notable's faction. This allows you to strategically cater to your playstyle and the style of the faction you're playing. The aspects will be more likely to lean on economic and empire benefits, whereas the more battle-hungry faction, like I estimate the Necrophages to be, might enjoy a plus 100% increase in battle spoils. With multiple monsoons come the opportunity to unlock more council seats, providing you with a wider range of benefits. And, ideally, by the time those additional monsoons come, you'll have a much wider notable pool to dip into and optimize. You can also revise your council setup for a wee bit of dust, a small price to pay when you finally nab a notable that you'd like to bring in immediately. All of these things are great pieces to the game without a single doubt. However, I think the biggest game-changing mechanic here has to be minor factions, the gift that keeps on giving. Minor factions at a base level function just like they did in the first game. You can pacify them in the same ways by bribing individual villages or by completing a quest that pacifies those in the region. On pacification, you can then use their units and they provide a bonus to your empire. In Endless Legend 2, however, that partnership has evolved in big ways. The process remains the same, but the benefits are greater, or at least much more beneficial at an earlier start. Now, bonuses are much more detailed rather than percentage-based, like receiving 5 dust per pacified village on a trading post, rather than say just a 5% increase in food for the city. These do stack, so say you had 4 consortium villages all pacified and assimilated, you'd be seeing a bonus of 20 dust on a single trading post, which is quite a hefty advantage when you also have the ability to spam that trading post. It goes deeper though. Once a minor faction is under your protectorate, you can actually queue them up to become part of your population, with citizens of different factions providing their own benefits that align with their culture and ideology. There is a lot of positive micromanagement in this, as weird as that is to say. Several factions have synergy bonuses, like the Kin providing +2 industry on the artisan slots, Foundlings +2 science on the citizen slots, or, my current favorite, the Aspect providing +1 influence per different faction that are in their job slot. There is some serious min-maxing that can be had, but it's not so burdensome that it's not fun. No, quite the opposite. If it wasn't enough that you can use these populations to your advantage, it ties into your hero generation as well. On researching the tech that draws you more heroes, the pool you can draw from is tied to the percentage of faction population in all of your cities. Have a ton of consortium pops, you're more likely to draw a consortium hero. And on top of that, recruiting other factions' heroes provides you with their faction skill trees, giving you even more variety to your armies to counter any weaknesses that might be present. On top of population generation and heroes, each faction will provide their own notables for you to use as council members. Again, providing you with an array of options that can be used at any time after the monsoon season, as mentioned previously. I have no doubts I'm missing some elements of minor factions, but all of that to say this: minor factions have a significant impact on your playthrough, way more than I ever felt in the first Endless Legend game. They feel great, their mechanics and implementation into your empire is solid, and they are just plain fun to engage with and figure out how they will benefit your campaign. So, I think it's safe to say that while Endless Legend 2 100% fits into the mold of the Endless universe and so far feels like a great continuation of the series, there are indeed a good deal of different gameplay elements that have been brought into the game in the best of ways. I'm eager to get my hands on more factions, be able to dive deeper into the world of Saeda, and see where the narrative takes us on the apparent doomed planet. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by giving it a like, subbing, and commenting. Let me know what you think about Endless Legend 2 from what you've seen now that people are releasing content, and stay tuned on the channel as I dive into both an aspect and a Kenneth Sheridan mini campaign. Thank you for watching. This is Havoc, and I am out of here.